Teri, I have an audience here, so I'm introducing my audience to you.
Hello.
Xochitl, we're honored to welcome you at National University, San Diego, and broadcast from Boston.
Yes, exactly. Broadcasting from Boston. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. Thank you, Teri. I'm here with Noriko, and I'm going to be using the piano a little bit. I'll tell you about my leadership journey. So my name is Xochitl Mendez. I'm going to start from here talking about how perhaps as leaders, we always have to go a little bit against what other people see. And I believe sticking to my own vision and mission since I was a child, because I wanted to become an opera singer since I was 11. I heard it on the radio, and I felt that I wanted to do beautiful music. And I say this because as I have gone through my journey from being a completely healthy person to having a disability and being very sick, is to just not tune to the frequency of others. And that's what I felt I did since I was very young. I wanted to be a singer, and then that's how I got my scholarship to the Longy School of Music. And then everything was going fine. I was completely healthy. I was starting to sing places. Things were going great. All my mind was only music. And then what happened was the complete unexpected. The unexpected was that I got very sick. I had a disease called complex regional pain syndrome, but I didn't know that then. And just to tell you a little bit about that, I hurt my ankle, but then this disease, it takes a few weeks for it to really kick in. So one night I was in so much pain, the pain in my foot was absolutely horrendous. And I went to bed thinking things would be okay. And then by the next morning, I will never forget how the pain was much worse. And I took off the sheet from my foot thinking I would have a completely swollen and red foot. And to my surprise, it looked normal because at that stage, it's invisible. So this is where a crisis began. And I want to refer this as a crisis because philosopher and political theorist Hannah Arendt talked about in the crisis in education. She writes that it's crisis really that helped us see what the prejudices are, what the assumptions are. So we can't really see those very well unless we find ourselves in such crisis. And in fact, she talked about those as answers to questions, human. So for example, right now you can see me basically normal because I'm sitting here, but I do need to lie down most of the time. And I was bedridden in the hospital for a month, a long time ago, and it's been 15 years. So it's been a really long time for me to be able to bear this amount of weight. But just imagine how long that's taken and how that challenged my own identity, my own sense of self, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. So it's a very lonely place when you can't get up from bed. And if you can't travel, if you can't get to your doctors, because how can you get there if you're not sitting? If you can't participate with people because everybody is used to seeing you sitting in order to speak. To me, it was like I stopped being a human, which again goes back to Hannah Arendt, who I really love, who talks about we are not humans unless we are with others, unless we are in the public, unless there is an in-between where I can be seen by you. And I was completely isolated. And very few people, when I speak with them, if I tell them, so if you can't sit for very long, do you feel that's a problem of yours, or do you think it's a problem of society? And most people always say it's their problem. And I say, no, I think that just because I have to lie down a lot and be like this should not prevent me from being here with you. So for example, it's just a degree of 90 degrees, right? And in fact, if people slouch a lot, it's not even that, it's much less. So, so there's a lot of patients who have my condition, and a lot of people who are not able to sit with many conditions. And I try to, the people I speak with, to tell them that it really is, I think, also a matter of social justice, so that we are into the world. I know people who do not leave their homes. I have heard of many people who commit suicide because if you put yourself in the shoes of somebody like that, if you need to lie down most of the time, there is almost no way to interact with anybody, and that's extremely damaging because the in identity is created really in interaction. It's a co-construction. So right now I'm going to be singing a song for you that I'm going to then tie it into the next one. So should we sing, let's sing Frühlingslaube. So what I want to say about this song, it's a song by Franz Schubert, and the text says, I hear spring sounds, I hear the birds, I see buds coming out of the ground, so it's a song about hope. And this song about hope is really that got me through those moments, as I said, 15 years of not even knowing who I was and just holding on to hope that one day I could be of value to society or to anybody else. And what I want to say is that if we play the left hand and we play the beginning and have slide one. Yes, so the left hand has triplets. And then if you see the right hand has a dotted rhythm, and you may not be able to see it perfectly, but they don't line up. They are in different tempi, they're not synced in. And this is something that I think is really, leadership is all about. First, drawing from our own experiences, and I'm drawing from music and from all my education in music. And what I do is bring that and then try to find a way to think about how am I going to lead better by having my past experiences inform what I do. And I believe that music is a great metaphor. So at the beginning of the song, this is what gives the song the sense of something is not completely resolved, which is what one as a leader always confronts of not being in sync with others, trying to lead an organization perhaps, or trying to change. And sometimes most people don't even see that the world they're seeing is a construct. So even having to face a reality where everybody else thinks they have reality, and then we know that it's just a construct. It's really very difficult to do change. But then what should we do? So then we see that the composer is already telling me, at least in the way I see this, that we're having to build in more voices so that we begin towards something else. So then there is another, if we have slide two, we have more voices join in, so we have to bring in others. And there is a little triplet, the dotted and the triplets are different, but then we have more voices. And then what we're trying to do is really to have the connection, because I believe that leadership is all about connection. And then by finding how to interpret what they are seeing, because what they see of us are interpretations. So by understanding how they are understanding us, we bring people together, we bring them to our mission, we create those connections, and then we become in unison. So can you play Noriko for us, where everything goes together, everything joins in sync? So let me sing that part. Nun musicales. Nun musicales. So you see everything's together now, and then everything will change. That's what the song says. So if you have questions for me, I mean, there's a lot more I could say, but I know we don't have a lot of time. So please just let me know. Thank you.
Beautiful voice. Oh my God. Xochitl, I don't know if you heard that. Beautiful voice. You are being complimented for your beautiful voice. Can you hear it, Xochitl?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, yes, you are being complimented for your beautiful voice. You are such an inspiration. We are grateful for your wonderful presentation. And do you have any questions for us? I have taken some pictures of the audience. I didn't want to turn this around because we have you at the microphone. And so what you're seeing when you're presenting is this. So you're seeing me now. And so you have presented a wonderful representation of what it means to be in the intersection of leadership and identity and disability, as we have so often spoken, you and I. So you are just this wonderful inspiration for us tonight. We are grateful to you, and we want to know if you have questions for us, or are there other questions or comments?